Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
To you, my Yadu, I lift up my soul. And trusting you, he always kept me whole. And left my enemies deep in their holes. Let none that wait on Yahweh be ashamed. Put shame on those who sin without a cause. Show me your ways, please teach me your laws. Oh Elohim of my salvation, I'm staying down and patient. As a child, all the while I'm waiting. Remember not the sins of my youth. Lead me in your truth, and he'll give your soul ease. The earth shall remain inherited by a seed. The secret of Yahweh who fears Elohim, a fool believes everything, and to every word spoken. You can't take heed unless you hear somebody curse. You know you did the same thing. That's why I'm begging Yah for mercy and His love and kindness, cause I know that I ain't worthy. Captivity is taking hold upon me. Put frighten me and now we flee from fallen leaves. The blood and grief from all the blood our people seen. And now we cry, where is the word from Elohim? And so we think that we are as wise to be submissive, but we dismiss it. It is of this reason we have fallen victim to the lies of your root. We're a prey and pursue rebellious of his son, forgotten that he is one. Broken the holy ordinance, rejection of reproof. Then acknowledge what we do. Now we return back to the truth. Yah's word is the truth. Yah's decrees is the proof. Local 12 just released the scoop. It's the summer of Sam. They calling it Pam. Made us worship the son of man. And somehow that the moon, they stole our style and gave it to Rothschild. Now we exalt the vow, but hit the turnstile. Yah's Nabi set the crooked things straight. Praise Yah from the rising to the evening to the closing the gate. Exposing the fake. Yah give the truth a day break. Now the liars can't escape and the haters can't relate to the light that truth makes. See the wicked pride deflate. Ye adore Yah, magnify Yah, cause He's great.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise and honor to the Holy One of Israel, to the Creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is, by saying hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah. Yah is righteous, Yah is holy, and let Yahweh be magnified. Again, we come to you another day that the mighty Yah has allowed us to bring forth his word unto you. Truly, the Most High is gracious and kind, full of tender mercies, loving kindness, that he has chosen his people, chosen us, the house of Israel, to represent his great words. My name is Mowreh IshiYAH YIsraEL of the house of Israel, located right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, 1907 Vine Street, bringing you nothing but the truth. And yes, it is true. All we're going to do is tell you the truth. For Yah ordained me to tell you the truth. So this is what I'm going to do. And I praise the mighty Yah once again for our beautiful brothers and sisters that's tuning in and learning the great ways, the great requirements, the great statutes and judgments, and this week, the great wonders of the Most High Yah. As stated yesterday and every day, who is this Yah? Who is this Yah that we speak of, that we talk about, that we exalt and glorify? Well, this Yah is the creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is. Yah is the Elohim of our fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and YIsraEL, whom you may know as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yah is our King. He's our lawgiver. He's our Savior. He's our only judge. And not just of Israel, but the world. And the Most High, Creator of the universe, have commissioned us to bring to you his great words. Words that are so great, there is none greater than he is. And therefore, we will speak about his great statutes or great wonders that he have wrought in the earth. But why are these wonders even relevant? What's so great about the wonders of Yah? Well, all the various nations have their great wonders, like the Great Wall of China. They look at long and how many miles or many miles this wall is, and they call it a great wonder. Who would think to do such a thing? Probably a bunch of slaves actually did it, the work. And then you had the great pyramids that they consider great wonders. Many of the pyramids still standing today. Many of them still to this day, people don't even know how they were even built. The Europeans were so fascinated with the building of the pyramids that they would tell you that aliens came down and built them. But I can tell you who built the pyramids. Slaves. Slaves built the pyramids. Then we had the various ancient monuments and antiquities of other wonders from the Mayans and the Great Canyon and the great lakes and rivers. These many great things are just that, things. But what about the great wonders of the Most High? Yesterday I brought to you one of Yah's great wonders. Now, what is a wonder? And why aren't the people talking about these great wonders? You'll find some written. Show you this in the book of First Chronicles. I think it is. And watch what this says concerning the wonders of Yah. And why isn't Israel speaking about these great wonders in the book of First Chronicles, the 16th chapter, starting at the 7th verse?
Then on that day, David delivered first this psalms to thank Yahweh into the hand of Asaph and his brethren. Give thanks unto Yahweh, call upon his name, make known his deeds among the people. Sing unto him, sing psalms unto him. Talk ye of all his wondrous works.
Yes, sing unto him, sing songs unto him, and talk ye of all his wondrous works. And this we were bringing to you 7 great wonders of Yah. And we're talking of his great wonders as he said we should do. And watch what it says.
Glory in his holy name.
And why would you glory in his holy name? After hearing these great wonders, all you can do is glory in his holy name.
Let the heart of them rejoice that seek Yahweh. Seek Yahweh and his strength. Seek his face continually. Remember his marvelous works that he hath done, his wonders, and the judgments of his mouth.
Yeah, remember his marvelous works. Remember the works that he has done. Remember his wonders and the judgments of his mouth. And my goodness, when you just meditate and take your time to just rehearse the mighty acts of Yah and remember the mighty things that he's done, all you can do is glory in his name. And what greater wonder could Yah have made? The Almighty said, 6 days shall ye labor and do all thy work. But on the Sabbath day thou shalt do no work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, thy maidservant, nor the cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yah made the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is, and rested the Sabbath day. Wherefore Yah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. And after I seen and looked at all the great works of Yah, and Yah made great mountains, great rivers, great lands. Matter of fact, everything that Yah made was great. He even made great lights. But there is no greater thing that Yah will make then what he will make after his own image and his own likeness. This is his son. This is the image and the likeness of Elohim. You drew a picture of a car, an animal, a building, a spaceship, some clouds, some stars, some moons, some suns, some water. And then you drew a picture of yourself. Which one would you marvel at? Well, if you say you won't marvel at the picture, then why would you have a mirror? Why do you think a man, or most men, and definitely righteous men, as well as righteous women, the very thing that they want more than anything is a son and a father, definitely a son that he will have in his own image. Look what it says in the book of Genesis, the 5th chapter, because I want you to understand what a wonder is. A wonder is a miracle. It's something very unique, something set apart, something that is one and only. Watch this in Genesis, the 5th chapter. And yesterday we dealt with Yah's first wonder. Not because it came before all the other wonders, or it was done first. It was the first wonder because this wonder was his greatest wonder. And why you say, well, that was his greatest wonder? Because this wonder was a wonder that Yahweh designed, made, and chose after his own heart. He said he saw the man after his own heart. And this man he chose after his own heart, he made him the firstborn king, higher than all the kings of the earth. No wonder he was the firstborn king. Not only that, he made him the one king, the one chosen out of the people, the one that is mighty, the one shepherd, one prince. As a matter of fact, this is the only person in the whole entire scriptures where Yah told you, the only person outside of him, told you to seek. It says seek him and David, our king. As a matter of fact, this is the only man in the scripture that not only was a wonder, his name was wonderful. That's what Yahweh said you would even call him. But watch this in the book of Genesis, the 5th chapter, starting at the very first verse.
This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that Elohim created man, in the likeness of Elohim made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created.
In the day they were created. Now, this is the book of the generation of man. This is when Yahweh created man in the likeness of Elohim made he him. So you know this creation was a great thing for Yahweh. A great thing. But not just for Yahweh. Watch what happens in Genesis, the 4th chapter. No, we're going to stay in Genesis 5 and read the 3rd verse.
And Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his own likeness.
Look, he lived 130 years. That's a long time before you have a son. But nevertheless, he lived 130 years and he begot a son in his own likeness.
After his image.
After his image.
And called his name Seth.
And he called his name Seth. Because that's what a man wants. Man wants somebody to carry on his name. A man wants somebody to carry on his likeness. And a man wants somebody to carry on his image. That's what a man wants. And not just a man. This is what Yahweh wanted. And that wonder, that first wonder, that number one wonder was King David. Today, we're going to talk about Yahweh's number 2 wonder. And then Yahweh's second wonder is not number 2. And second, because it was somehow inferior than the very first wonder. Because I can assure you this wonder is not inferior at all. As a matter of fact, it's not less than the first wonder. And it's just as great. And once you begin to learn the order of Yah, then you will understand that there's a time and a season for everything. And you will begin to learn for every time, and I mean every time, there's a purpose. And this second wonder was purpose to be second. For what did Yah do on the second day? Well, Yah, on the second day, he put a mist that he called a firmament in the midst of the waters. And he separated the waters from the waters. And there was waters above this firmament, and there was waters below this firmament. And this firmament, Yahweh called heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. In other words, when Yahweh was making the heavens, he was really making his throne. Yah said heaven is his throne and earth is his footstool. And what throne don't have a name? Well, all through the scriptures, in the house of Israel, you only had one name for a throne. And that was called the throne of David. Well, you don't think Yahweh's throne have a name? Sure, it has a name. And what is his name? It's named after him. And you're going to see, if you don't know, how the second represents Yah's name. And once you understand that, then you can understand the person, the great wonder that represent his name. Because this wonder is a great miracle that Yah will give to us. This is why I ask, why aren't you talking about Yah's wondrous work? When the scripture says that's what you should be doing. And what greater works could you talk about than Yah's servants? All the other nations, their wonders are just a bunch of things, but not what Yah's wonders. Yah's wonders are the very thing that he made and designed in his own image as well as his likeness. Just to show you this, just show you indeed his servants are wonders. Go to the book of Isaiah, the 8th chapter. And tonight, we're speaking about Yah's second wonder. And we bring it to you Yah's 7 wonders. You're going to understand why the is 7. And you're going to understand why each one represents the very thing that we bring it to you now. In the book of Isaiah, the 8th chapter, this is what it says in the 16th verse.
Bind up the testimony, seal the law among my disciples.
Seal the law and bind up the testimony among my disciples. And what's a disciple? A disciple is one that follows something. And what should you be following? Well, the law. And what else should you be following? The testimony. That's why the scripture says to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So bind up the testimony. Seal the law among my disciples.
And I will wait upon Yahweh that hideth his face from the house of Yaakov, and I will look for him.
And I will look for him, because the scriptures say, if you seek him, you shall find him. And nobody is looking for Yah. And you have to know how to seek the Most High. Most people don't know how to seek the Most High. They think seeking the Most High is just some words. But no, there's things you got to do to seek the Most High. The word seek means to search for, to look for, to search out, to try to find. And watch what it says.
Behold, I and the children whom Yahweh hath given me are for signs and for wonders in Israel, from Yahweh of hosts, which dwelleth in Mount Zion.
Yeah, see, the prophet knew. He said, I and my children whom Yahweh have given me are for signs and wonders in Israel, from Yahweh of hosts. And so we're merely bringing to you Yah's 7 wonders. But what is his second wonder? Well, to understand what his second wonder is, you have to understand what the second represent. Then it's easy to understand who his second wonder will be. We know King David is his first wonder. Why? Because he represents the oneness of Yah. Why you think he's going to be the one king, the one shepherd, the one prince, the one that is called mighty, the one chosen out of the people, the one anointed? Why do you think the scriptures say is only one outside of the Most High you should seek? There's only one man that exists that the Creator said, if you incline your ear unto him, your soul shall live, and he will make even a covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David. The only mercies I thought we can be saved by is Yahweh's mercy. And here it is, the Almighty is said also can live by the mercies of David. But this second wonder, what do he represent? What do he bring to the table? Well, let me show you what the second represents so you can understand what's being brought to the table. So, for example, in the book of Genesis again, Genesis, the 5th chapter, or make that Genesis, the 4th chapter, and watch what this says. The 25th and 26th verse.
And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth. For Elohim, said she, hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enosh. Then began men to call upon the name of Yahweh.
Then men began to call upon the name of Yahweh. Now, why during the time of Enos? Well, let me tell you why. Seth was the first generation after Adam. And Enos was the second generation after Adam. The second. And did not tell you that's when heaven was made on the second day? And did not I let you know that the heavens represents the Creator's name? And why? Because heaven is his throne and earth is his footstool. And maybe you're not convinced. Maybe you still unsure. Well, let me show you that I'm telling you the truth. In the book of 1 Kings, turn there. Well, before we go to 1 Kings, let's go to Chronicles. And I think it's going to be 2 Chronicles, the 3rd chapter. And watch what this says.
Second Chronicles chapter 3.
Starting at the very first verse.
Then Solomon began to build the house of Yahweh at Jerusalem in Mount Moriah, where Yahweh had appeared unto David his father, in the place that David had prepared in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite.
And just so, I just want you to stop there for a second so they can understand, so the people can understand why Solomon was building a house of Yahweh at Jerusalem in Mount Moriah. Just hold your page there for a second and go to 2 Chronicles, the 2nd chapter. Just a chapter before this, the very first verse. And what do it say?
And Solomon determined to build an house for the name of Yahweh, and an house for his kingdom.
So in other words, this house was not built for just any reason. It was built for the house, or it was built. A house was built for the name of Yah. Now go back to 2 Chronicles, the 3rd chapter, so you can see when this house was built. In the 2nd verse.
And he began to build in the 2nd day of the 2nd month in the 4th year of his reign.
Did not I tell you that the 2nd represents Yahweh's name? Why you think the 2nd generation after Adam, men began to call upon the name of Yah? And why do you think in the 2nd day of the 2nd month that they began to build the house of Yahweh for his name? Because the 2nd represents his name. Look what it says in the book of 1 Kings, the 6th chapter. And I let you know on various other lessons, it's very imperative that you know the order of Yah. And why? Because there's time and season for everything. And to every time, there's a purpose. Or to every time, there's a purpose, yes. 1 Kings 6th chapter. Watch what it says. First verse.
And it came to pass in the 480th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Yisrael, in the month Ziph, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of Yahweh.
He began to build the house of Yahweh in the 2nd month. And it should be obvious why. Because the 2nd represents Yahweh's name. Watch what it says in the book of Exodus. Exodus, the 40th chapter. Exodus 40. Just want you to see this. And we're going to read the 17th verse.
And it came to pass in the 1st month, in the 2nd year, on the 1st day of the month, that the tabernacle was reared up.
And what is the tabernacle? Well, the tabernacle is where Yahweh will come down and speak to Moses. The tabernacle represented Yahweh's name. And why did this happen in the 1st month in the 2nd year? Well, little do people know, prior to this, there was no tabernacle. The first tabernacle that was reared up was in the second year after coming forth out of Egypt. And why the second year? Because the second represents Yah's name. Because what did Yah do on the second day? Well, Yah, as I stated before, would take, according to the book of Genesis, the first chapter, he would take this mist and put it in the midst of the waters and divide the waters from the waters. And the waters was above this mist called firmament. And there was waters below the firmament. And this firmament, Yahweh will call heaven. And all this was done on the second day. So it shouldn't be a great shock and a great surprise who this great wonder will be. You'll read about this great wonder in the book of Exodus, the second chapter. In the book of Exodus, the second chapter, and watch what this says in the very first verse.
Exodus chapter 2, verse 1. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived, and bare a son. And when she saw him, that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and dabbed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off, to wit, what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away, and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses. And she said, Because I drew him out of the water.
Because I drew him out of the water. What do you think Yahweh did on the second day? Did not he separate the waters from the waters? And there was waters above the firmament, and there was waters below the firmament, and the firmament called heaven. And here, Yahweh's second wonder, Yahweh's second miracle, is Moses himself. And why Moses? Because he was drawn out the water. And why Moses? Because there is no other man that Yahweh would choose, that Yahweh would anoint, that Yahweh will raise up to introduce his name to the whole world. before Moses, Yahweh had no servant that would introduce his name to the world. And then Moses came. And this is who Yah gave his name to. What a miracle. What a wonder. Can you believe that there's a man that existed that Yahweh will come to, sit down with, and share his glorious name with? How important could this man be? How holy could this man be? His whole life was dealing with Yahweh's name. Look at this man Moses. Just want you to see this great man. Exodus, the 3rd chapter. And watch what this says. The very first verse.
Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and came to the mountain of Elohim, even to Horeb. And the angel of Yahweh appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when Yahweh saw that he turned aside to see, Elohim called unto him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. And he said, draw not nigh hither. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place wherein thou standest is holy ground.
This is holy ground right here, because this was the mountain of Elohim. And he told him to take off his sandals, take off his shoes. That's why oftentimes the custom of our people, when they went in their houses, they took their shoes off because their houses were sacred. So they would just leave their shoes out. They didn't want to attract all the filth in the house. And oftentimes this is what we do today, but we're going to have to get back to doing holy things. This was a holy thing. That's why today people go to funerals today and they just automatically assume you unclean. And that's not true. The reason why Moses had to take his shoes off, because his shoes was unclean. But he wasn't unclean. As soon as he took his shoes off, he was able to walk on holy ground. That's why if you walking in graveyards and stuff like that, you want to have shoes on. And you want your body separate from the uncleanness. But watch what it says.
Moreover, he said, I am the Elohim of thy father, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Yaakov. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon Elohim. And Yahweh said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters. For I know their sorrows, and I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land unto a good land, unto a land flowing and large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, And I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses said unto Elohim, Who am I, that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt?
Yeah, he said, who am I? I'm nobody. And little did he realize at this time, the only reason he was saved because he was somebody. The only reason why he was pulled out of the water because he was somebody. The reason why he was named Moses because he was somebody. He just didn't know who he was. And oftentimes we don't know who we are. And Yah will work great wonders with us. And then, and only then, the revelation will come to us. My goodness. I am a wonder. I am a miracle. I am somebody. But who know who they are in the beginning? We have a lot of people talking about I'm of the bloodline of Levi, and I'm this and I'm that. You don't know who you are. Y'all know who you are, though. Because y'all know all his wonders. And watch what happens. Continue reading.
Come now, verse 11. And Moses said unto Elohim, Who am I, that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? And he said, Certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee, that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, you shall serve Elohim upon this mountain.
And what mountain is that? Mount Horeb, the mountain of Elohim. And what mountain did they serve Yahweh on? And this was a sign. Watch what it says, 13th verse.
And Moses said unto Elohim, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The Elohim of your fathers have sent me unto you. And they shall say unto me, What is his name?
What is his name? The first thing Moses wanted to know is, why me? Who am I? I'm nobody to go to Pharaoh. As many of us think we're nobodies. Not realizing we the servants of Yah. Not realizing we are kingdom of priests. Not realizing we are peculiar treasure unto Yahweh himself. And Moses said, who am I? And then the second thing Moses wanted to know, because did not tell you, the second represents his name. The second thing Moses wanted to know is what if I go to the people, as you're stating, they're going to ask me, they're going to say to me, what is his name? What shall I say unto them? And watch what it says, 14th verse.
And Elohim said unto Moshe, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am has sent me unto you.
And what do that mean? Is that what it's saying in Hebrew? I am that I am. What do it say in Hebrew?
And Elohim said, Moreover, unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say
Tell
unto...
me what that says in Hebrew in the 14th verse.
Oh, you want to know the Hebrew?
Yes.
YIsraEL.
Oh my goodness. Don't tell me. Tell the listening audience.
YIsraEL.
Yeah, YAH'S. That's what it says. And what do that mean? Do it mean I am that I am?
Yes.
Or I'll be what I'll be. And thou shalt say unto the children of Israel,
Yahweh, the Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Yaakov have sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations.
Yeah. And Elohim said more unto Moshe, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, Yahweh, Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Yitzhak, and the Elohim of Yaakov has sent me unto you. This is my name forever. This is my memorial unto all generations. And who was the instrument that Yahweh will use to bring the world his name? Now, many people today, they will call the Creator by all kind of different names, which let you know this name have been lost once again to our people. And you will hear all these various different names. Some people call it ancient Hebrew. Some people call it Paleo Hebrew. Some people call it this type of Hebrew and that type of Hebrew. But what is the truth? Well, there's only one name that stood the test of time. And that's Yahweh. And you also in the scriptures find the name of Yah. But of course, if you doubt that, then you cannot doubt the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and YIsraEL, because this is his name to all generations. So we still can be together. And Moses is the instrument that Yahweh would use. Moses is the wonder that Yahweh would use. And Moses is the miracle child that will bring forth his name. Moses is Yahweh's second wonder. Because the second represents Yahweh's name. Watch what it continue to say.
Go, verse 16, and gather the elders of Israel together, and say unto them, Yahweh Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Yaakov, appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you, and seen that which is done to you in Egypt. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt unto the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall hearken unto thy voice. And thou shalt come, thou and the elders of Israel, unto the king of Egypt, and ye shall say unto him, Yahweh Elohim of the Hebrews hath met with us, and now let us go, we beseech thee, 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to Yahweh our Elohim.
Yeah, this is what he's supposed to say to Pharaoh. And you might ask yourself, well, Mowreh IshiYAH, I can understand David being the first wonder. And he represents Yahweh's oneness. Since he was the only one king, the one shepherd, the one prince, the one anointed, the only one that we should seek. I can understand that. But Moses, I know you showed us where Yahweh said, in the book of Isaiah, the 8th chapter, that I and the children that Yahweh hath given me shall be for signs and wonders. I understand that. And I even understand Moses being pulled and yanked out of the water, where all the other little babies during his generations was being killed, thrown in the rivers, drowned, eaten by alligators. But I still, and I can even understand, he was the one that brought Yahweh's name. But I'm trying to figure out, why are you calling him a wonder? Well, watch what this says. The 19th verse.
And I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go.
He's not going to let you go.
No, not by a mighty hand.
It's got to be a mighty hand for him to let you go.
And I will stretch out my hand.
I will stretch out my hand
and smite Egypt.
Smite Egypt
with all my wonders.
With all my wonders.
Which I will do in the midst thereof. And after that, he will let you go.
And who is the instrument that Yahweh would use to do all his wonders? Moses, the miracle child. Moses. And what is a wonder? A wonder is a miracle. There is no greater name than Moses, because Moses represented Yahweh's name. There is no one in the annals of history that you can read about their name greater than Moses. This is how great this man became, because of the wonders that he would do in Yahweh's name. Now, do you understand why we must talk of these great, wondrous works of Yahweh? Watch this. Just show you something. Show you how great Moses was in the book of Exodus, the 6th chapter. Just want you to see this. See, Yahweh could have used anybody to choose. He could have used anybody to represent his name. Anybody. But watch what Yahweh would do in the book of Exodus, the 6th chapter, the very first verse.
Then Yahweh said unto Moses, Now shalt thou see what I will do unto Pharaoh. For with a strong hand shall he let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of his land. And Elohim spake unto Moses and said unto him, I am Yahweh, and I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob by the name El Shaddai. But by my name Yahweh was I not known to them.
In other words, Yahweh could have let anybody know his name, but he didn't appear to them as these great men. Who's greater than Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahweh would take their names and make it part of his. He said, I'm the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For him to be called after the name of other men, show you how great these men were. And these men still did not know the essence of the name of Yah like Moses. This is how great this second wonder was, that even the greatest men was not chosen to bring forth Yah's name. But yet, Moses was. And furthermore, show you how great Moses was in the book of Exodus, the 7th chapter. Let us turn there. Exodus 7. Starting at the first verse.
And Yahweh said unto Moses, see, I have made thee an Elohim to Pharaoh.
I made you a God to Pharaoh.
And Aaron, thy brother, shall be thy prophet.
In other words, this is the only man in the whole entire scripture Yahweh said he made a God. And he said, and I made you a God to Pharaoh. And not only are you going to be a God to Pharaoh, Aaron going to be your prophet. Now, how great is that? And continue reading.
Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Israel out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt, and bring forth mine armies and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh, when I stretch forth mine hand upon Egypt, and bring out the children of Israel from among them. And Moses and Aaron did as Yahweh commanded them, so did they. And Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron 83 years old, when they spake unto Pharaoh.
In other words, Moses was very mature. He was 80 years old. And Aaron was 83 years old. But watch the very next verse.
And Yahweh spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, when Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, show me a miracle for you.
In other words, show me a wonder. Show me a miracle. If you so great, show me a miracle. If you such an Elohim, show me a miracle. If you just a wonder, show me a miracle. Go ahead.
Then thou shalt say unto Aaron, take thy rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. And Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did as Yahweh had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, now the magicians of Egypt. They also did in like manner with their enchantments. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents, but Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. And he hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he hearkened not unto them, as Yahweh had said.
And then you're going to learn that Moses did 10 great wonders. 10 great wonders. 10 great plagues. 10 great miracles upon Egypt. all while being an instrument of a wonder. What other man can do these things? But why was Moses commissioned to do these great things? In the book of Exodus, the 9th chapter. Because I told you the second represents Yahweh's name. And watch what you'll read in the book of Exodus, the 9th chapter. And if you've been listening to me and you've been learning the order of Yah, you will know that the 9th represents number 2. And 2 represents Yahweh's name. And what do it say in the book of Exodus, the 9th chapter, the 16th verse, which also represents the number 2. And right before we read that, start at the 13th verse.
And Yahweh said unto Moses, Rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh, and say unto him, Thus saith Yahweh Elohim of the Hebrews, Let my people go, that they may serve me. For I will at this time send all my plagues upon thine heart.
On his heart.
And upon thy servants.
And the servants.
And upon thy people.
And thy people. In other words, when you send something on somebody's heart, then that thing is very deep. That thing is very powerful. If you're going to be moved, that's where you're going to be moved at. And that's your heart. And watch what happens.
That thou mayest know that there is none like me in all the earth.
And trust me, watch what happened to let them know that there was none like him in all the earth.
For now I will stretch out my hand, that I may smite thee and thy people with pestilence, and thou shalt be cut off from the earth. And in very deed, for this cause have I raised thee up.
In the very deed, for this cause have I raised thee up.
For to show in thee my power.
My power.
And that my name may be declared throughout all the earth.
This is what Moses' purpose was. This is the reason why he was raised up. This is the reason that he was snatched out of the waters. This is the reason that he was put in a little basket. This is the reason why he was even named Moses. This is the reason why he's Yahweh's second wonder. He was raised up to bring forth Yahweh's name through signs and wonders. There are no greater wonders that was wrought in the earth that was greater than what Moses did in Yahweh's name. Moses was so great. Look what Yahweh said about Moses, who will represent his name, in the book of Numbers, the 12th chapter. In the book of Numbers, the 12th chapter, this is what it says in the very first verse.
And Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, Hath Yahweh indeed spoken only by Moses? Hath he not spoken also by us? And Yahweh heard it. Now the man Moses was very meek, above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. And Yahweh spake suddenly unto Moses and unto Aaron, and said unto Miriam, Come out, ye three, unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. And Yahweh came down in the pillar of the cloud, and stood in the door of the tabernacle, and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, Yahweh, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and I will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so.
Now, do you understand what that just said? In other words, if there's any other prophets that exist, that are among you, I, Yahweh, will make myself known unto them in a vision. Now, what's a vision? Most people don't know what a vision is. And let me tell you what a vision is. The word vision means revelation. It's a revelation. It's a revelation that Yahweh showed you that you're able to see. He opened your eyes to things that in normal cases you won't see. You might read the scriptures all day long, then next thing you know, Yahweh will open them up and you will begin to see things that you've been reading all along that you never seen before. And it's only because Yahweh makes himself known in visions, and he will speak to you in a dream. And as great as that is, Moses is not so, who is faithful in all his house, most faithful man in his house. Look how Yahweh said he would speak to Moses. Continue reading.
My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all my house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. In the similitude of Yahweh shall he behold.
Even though you got Israelites that tell you that Yahweh don't have no form, you got the New Testament that will tell you that Yahweh don't have no form. Here Yahweh say the similitude of Yahweh shall Moses behold. In other words, Moses is going to see an image. And that shouldn't be shocking, because Yahweh said he made us after his image and after his likeness. This is how Yahweh made us. And Moses seen that image. And why? Because he was the most faithful in Yahweh's house. And why? Because this is the man that Yahweh will bring and use as an instrument to bring his name to the earth. And why? Because this is the man that Yahweh was used as a second great wonder. Miracle. Now, do you understand why we talk of the wondrous works of Yahweh? This is a man that, according to the scriptures, anyone should be afraid to speak of, speak to, speak against. Look what Yahweh said about this man Moses in the book of Exodus 33. In the book of Exodus 33, watch what this says. And I may add, Moses never had a vision or a dream of Yahweh, because he spoke to Yahweh. And watch what this says. All the other provisions and dreams, but not Moses. Watch what it says. Starting at verse 11. Exodus 33, verse 11.
And Yahweh spake unto Moses face to face, as a man speaketh unto his friend.
In other words, it's not talking about he spoke to Moses over the phone. He spoke to Moses out of the burning bush. He spoke to Moses from the mountain. He spoke to Moses out of the cloud. No, it says, and Yahweh spake unto Moshe face to face as a man speaketh unto his friend. Because if you didn't understand how Yahweh would speak to, or if you understand how you would speak to your friend, now you can understand how Yahweh spoke to Moses. And watch what it says. Continue reading.
And he turned again into the camp. But his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, departed not out of the tabernacle. And Moses said unto Yahweh, see, thou sayest unto me, bring up this people, and thou hast not let me know whom thou wilt send with me. Yet thou hast said, I know thee by name, and thou also hast found grace in my sight. Now therefore, I pray thee, if I have found grace in thy sight, show me now thy way, that I may know thee, that I may find grace in thy sight, and consider that this nation is thy people. And he said, my presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. And he said unto him, if thy presence go not with me, carry us not up hence. For wherein shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight?
How is it going to be known if you don't go with us, that we have found grace in thy sight?
Is it not in that thou goest with us? So shall we be separated, and I and thy people from all the people that are upon the face of the earth.
No, is it not in that thou goest with us? In other words, that's the only way people are going to know we separated from all the other nations on the face of the earth. In other words, Yahweh, go with us. Separate us. Make us peculiar. Make us different than everybody else. And look what Yahweh said about this. 17th verse.
And Yahweh said unto Moses, I will do this thing also that thou hast spoken, for thou hast found grace in my sight, and I know thee by name. And he said, I beseech thee,
I beg thee,
show me thy glory.
show me thy glory, Yahweh. Please show me thy glory. I beg thee.
And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim the name of Yahweh before thee, and will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. And he said, thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see me and live.
You know, everybody sees this real quick. Nobody can see the face of Yahweh. It said in the book, no man can see my face and live. But little do people know, Moses never even asked to see his face. In the 18th verse, this is what Moses asked to see. And he said, I beseech thee, I beg thee, show me thy glory. And why didn't Moses ask to see his face? Because the scripture already said in the 11th verse that Moses told to Yahweh, or Yahweh speak to Moses face to face as a man speaking unto his friend. That's something that already do. But Yahweh or Moses wanted to see his glory. Now that's a different question than seeing his face. But the way Yahweh answered it, you can't see my face and live. Why? Because you asked to see my glory. Where do you think my glory come from? And I'm going to prove to you beyond a shadow of a doubt, this was not just Yahweh's face that Moses was begging to see, because he had already seen that, it was his glory. And watch what it says.
For there shall no man see me and live. And Yahweh said, Behold, there is a place by me.
There's a place by me.
And thou shalt stand upon a rock.
Get on this rock.
And it shall come to pass, while my glory passeth by.
And you notice it didn't say while my face passeth by. It says while my glory passeth by.
That I will put thee in a cliff of the rock.
I will put you in a cliff of a rock.
And will cover thee with my hand while I pass by.
While I pass by.
And I will take away my hand, and thou shalt see my back.
You see the back of me.
But my face shall not be seen.
Because that's where my glory come from. Because that's what you want to see. That's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you my glory. But I got to put you in the cliff of a rock. I got to shield you. Because if you see my glory from my face, you will surely die. You won't live. And after this great event, this great wonder, this great miracle happened, watch what Moses had to do as a result of seeing Yahweh's glory in the book of Exodus 34. And watch what it says. And I want you to start reading the 27th verse.
And Yahweh said unto Moses, Write thou these words, for after the tenor of these words I have made a covenant with thee and with Israel. And he was there with Yahweh 40 days and 40 nights. He did neither eat bread nor drink water. And he wrote upon the tables of the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments.
The 10 commandments.
And it came to pass, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tables of the testimony in Moses' hand, when he came down from the mount, that Moses wist not that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him.
In other words, Moses didn't even know that his face was like a big lamp of radiation. He didn't know his face shone like the sun. He didn't know and had no idea that when he asked to see Yahweh's glory, that this light came out of Yahweh's face. And this same light shined upon him. And watch what happens as a result of asking to see Yahweh's glory. And now, instead of Yahweh's face just glowing, watch what the face of Moses does also. 30th verse.
And when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come nigh him.
In other words, his face shone so much that the people were scared of him. He looking at them like, what's wrong with y'all? And they looking at him, what's wrong with you, man? Look at your face.
90 seconds.
Watch what happens.
And Moses called unto them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation, and returned unto him. And Moses talked with them. And afterward all the children of Israel came nigh, and he gave them commandment, all that Yahweh had spoken with him in Mount Sinai. Until Moses had done speaking with them, he put a veil on his face.
In other words, Moses, for the rest of his life,
60 seconds.
had to wear a veil on his face. This is how, you ever seen a grown man wear a veil on their face? Well, Moses had to do that when he spoke to the children of Israel. This is how much his face shone. Continue reading.
But when Moses went in before Yahweh to speak with him, he took the veil off.
He took the veil off when he went to speak to Yahweh, but then he had to put the veil on when he spoke to the children of Israel. This is how you know what Moses asked. He asked to see Yahweh's glory. And what is Yahweh's glory? Well, it's light. The most beautiful light that you would ever want to see. And we're going to show you that one day.
10 seconds.
And where do this light come from? Well, it comes from Yahweh's face. And watch what it says.
He took the veil off until he came out. And he came out and spake unto the children of Israel that which he was commanded. And the children of Israel saw the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone. And Moses put the veil upon his face again, until he went in to speak with him.
In other words, for the rest of his life, this is what Moses did. Went to Yahweh, and then came down to the people with a veil. Went to Yahweh, and then came down to the people with a veil. Why? Because his face is shown. And the last scripture I want you to see about this great wonder, the second great wonder of Yahweh, who represents Yahweh's name, who brought Yahweh's name to the earth and to his people. And he didn't bring Yahweh's name to the earth by saying, look here, Yahweh's name is this, and Yahweh's name is that. No. He brought Yahweh's name by signs and wonders, miracles. This is how the people learned Yahweh's name. And this is how people will learn his name in the future. Watch what it says in the book of Deuteronomy 34, the last scripture, to show you the greatness of the man Moses. And this is what it says in Deuteronomy 34, verse 5.
So Moses, the servant of Yahweh, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of Yahweh. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab.
You notice that? So Moses, the servant of Yahweh, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of Yahweh. In other words, Yahweh just spoke and said, look here, Moses, go to sleep. And it was done. He went to sleep. According to his word, he died. He wasn't shot. It wasn't old age. He wasn't sick. It was by the word of Yah. And watch what it says. 6th verse.
And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab.
Who buried him? Yahweh buried him. And I'm going to show you that Yahweh buried him. Go ahead.
Over against Beth Peor, but no man knoweth of his sepulture unto this day.
How many men?
No.
No man knoweth of his scepter unto this day, with the exception of Yahweh. Now, do you see? As we talk of Yahweh's wondrous works, Yahweh's second wonder that will represent his great name. Yes, this wonder, this miracle is Moses himself. And as we told you yesterday, that Yah has 7 great wonders. This was number 2. So until tomorrow, we will bring you number 3. Yahweh love you, and so do I. Shalom.
confirm. To you, my Yadu, I lift up my soul. And trusting you, he always kept me whole. And left my enemies.
Ninth tree is the olive tree. The ninth tree mentioned. And what does he anoint? He anoints with the oil.
That's right.